Back of time there for a second.
You reach us, Matt.
Yep. Well, welcome everybody to Breakin Broncos. And welcome to Breakin Broncos. I am your host, Daniel Wetstein, with my co-host, Dylan Miles. We are here to talk about an absolute mollywhopping that your Broncos put on the Lions yesterday. We got Demaryius Thomas to talk about, as always. You know, we got to honor the man, the myth, the legend that is DT. We have Broncos finally committing to the run and reap the rewards, what we've been screaming for weeks. Teddy will demand 20 to 25 million. We're going to talk about that and his free agency hopes. And then there was also contributions across the defensive front and back end. We're going to discuss that in detail, as well as always your previews and picks for the upcoming game this weekend against Cincinnati. So, as always, we're going to start off because we got all kinds of sunshine and rainbows this week with my guy Dylan here. Give us your take on this absolute whooping that the Broncos put on the Lions, clearing out the Lions' den.
All right, I got to find this tweet before we start that the Broncos had a stat yesterday. I know we talked about it live about two running backs scoring 2 touchdowns in the same game.
Yes.
And it was where's that tweet at? It's the third Broncos running back duo in the first since 1962 to record 2 touchdowns apiece in a single game. So it wasn't even what we thought would have done it.
No, it wasn't even during the Terrell Davis era. That was before that was the beginning of the Broncos. The Broncos didn't exist until the 50s. So
that's at least their second season, third season.
Yep. Yeah. 1962 would have been Floyd Little would have been one of them because he was the starting running back. I think that was his rookie season when he just went off with he had 15 total touchdowns between rushing, receiving, punt returns, and kick returns. I could not guess who the other guy would be, but that I can guarantee you that at least one of them was Floyd Little. So appreciate you getting that stat and beating me to it. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that was okay. It was. Oh no, that's not who I want to see. I was looking back up for who the two running backs are, but every time I look it up, it's just they're showing Javonte and Melvin. But that was the highlight of yesterday was Javonte and Melvin. Javonte obviously not getting as many touches. We'll leave that for another day. But Melvin Gordon played great. He had a fantastic day. One I wasn't that expecting. I love to see coming back from an injury to play that great of a game. And he was in there for situations you would see Javonte in. They were basically swapped, it seemed like. Javonte was in for those runs that you would see Melvin making, and Melvin was in for those Javonte type plays, running it down the throat. Absolutely fantastic day for both of them. They cared. That's the reason they won. The running game was fantastic. 194 total yards between the two of them and 40 touches.
Yeah,
all I'm saying is
absolutely. No,
Javonte should still be the starter.
Yes, he definitely should. He was as efficient, if not more efficient. He's younger, he runs harder, but I can't be mad at the fact that they were giving Melvin touches because of how good he was playing.
Yes, he was playing great.
Yes, I am a proponent of play the hot hands. You had 2 hot hands. There was going to be people upset either way that you did it, but you're also paying Melvin Gordon $4.5 million this year as opposed to the rookie minimum, second round contract for Javonte Williams. So you want to get your money's worth. And obviously Melvin wants to get as many touches as he can to up his value in free agency in the offseason. So this week, I'm not mad. The other weeks when I got mad, it was when Melvin Gordon was not being efficient. He was not playing at the best of his game, and they were still shoving the ball down his throat instead of Javonte. So this is the 1 week where I will give Pat Shurmur a pass for giving Melvin more touches because of the fact that he gave them enough touches apiece by running it 40 times.
Yeah,
So,
and you could see it. You could see why he started getting more touches because of how early in the game he was playing very great. He's playing well early in the
yeah,
game, and then coming and heading into the second half, production stopped on offense. They come back out, and then Melvin's back out on the field to start off the second half, and was just running it down their throats. And it was the perfect play call. I'd say that second half had perfect play calling on offense. That was great for Pat Shermer in the second
yeah,
half.
yeah. I mean, it was pretty basic, but it was better than what he's done. Like in the
Yes.
second half, you didn't see the plays like you did at the end of the first half, where I was screaming about why are there 3 receivers in the same place on third down.
He changed it
So
up.
exactly, he stopped making those play calls. So with this offense in that running game, that's enough. You don't have to have all the frills and bells and whistles like you see in Kansas City and Buffalo and Baltimore and places like that where they get real cutesy. With this type of offense, it's a lot like Tennessee. It's that old school run it through your face type of offense. That's how this offense has been built. But Shermer, for whatever reason, for the majority of the season, has decided he wanted to try and run the offense like he had Peyton Manning instead of just an average quarterback that you can trust to not screw it up.
Yep.
And finally, this week, he got it through his thick skull. Teddy still got 25 passes, but they were all short, efficient passes. He completed 18 passes, but only amassed 179 yards and got 2 TDs off of running back out of the backfield and a tight end on a swing pass, where the receiver, there we go, that's the word, the receiver did all the work for him. In this game, it was just simply Teddy getting the ball out of his hands quickly, because that's been another thing that I have harped on, and a lot of people have harped on, is that he's had the third most pocket time, which means that he has had the third longest time where his offensive line has given him a good pocket. He's held onto the ball for the second longest of any quarterback in the league, and which were the reasons why he was also in the top 10 in sack rate. It wasn't because the offensive line was playing poorly. It was because Teddy was indecisive. And he did another thing that I've harped on him for that I was happy to see, is that he started trusting his 50-50 ball specialists. Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton are not Jerry Jeudy. They are never going to give you 5 to 10 yards of separation on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
Every once in a while, a coverage might get busted and they might get wide open. But they are specialists in winning the 50-50 ball. When it comes to those two guys, it's more like a 70-30, 80-20 proposition. But Teddy wants to see like college style windows in the passing game, which you are not going to get in the NFL, which has caused his hesitancy, which has caused him to hold the ball longer, which has caused him to get sacked and injured on a consistent basis this year. So it was very nice to see that they actually used play action. They actually used short, quick passes.
They came out and used play action on the first play of the game.
And then they ran it like 10 times in a row. And then they did a play action pass that gained a huge yardage to Cortland's first catch.
Cortland's first catch down the middle of the field, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep. There you go. And so it was wonderful to see that he actually found a flow, something that we just talked about last week, that Shermer did not seem to understand that there was a flow to play calling, but he finally found it. Now, I will say this with a caveat. This does not and should not save Shermer's job.
No.
Period. And I really don't care what happens over the rest of the season. Shermer needs to go regardless. There's going to be a new quarterback next year. There's going to be a lot of new offensive pieces. There's no reason to keep continuity because you're not going to have the same team. And Definitely this offense is old, dated, and it's way too basic for them to beat the elite defenses in this league.
And who I was glad to see yesterday, who had himself another good game, was Jerry Jeudy. You know, he didn't have those big touchdown catches, those big plays, but he had those catches where he was able to get some extra yardage, even after contact. I think it was that play late in the game. I don't remember how late in the game. It might have been third quarter. Yeah, third quarter, he caught that ball down the side, was able to juke a defender and get a couple extra yards on the play.
That
I'm
was
loving to
that
see
third
him.
down.
I'm loving to see him used more because he hasn't been used a lot.
Yes. And this is something I also pointed out in that same tweet I was just talking about him not trusting his other receivers. The reason that Jerry Jeudy has become Teddy Bridgewater's favorite target is that unlike those two, he is a route running specialist.
Whew.
He has feet that remind me of Chad Ochocinco. I have not seen feet that move and can just separate from defenders by breaking every bone from their ankle to their femur off the line of scrimmage since Chad Ochocinco, or Chad Johnson as he likes to be called again now. I just still like Ochocinco because it just sounds awesome. That's why I call him. It's no disrespect. If you ever see this Ochocinco, it's not a disrespect. I actually respect you so much. I keep that nickname for you because I just like it. So again, no offense, but yes, Jerry Jeudy, he gets that separation. He gets those 5 to 10 yards on a consistent basis because of how good he is at route running. Now it did pop up again. His one wart, the one thing that you could really pin on Jerry Jeudy as a bad thing is he tends to have a concentration drops.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that he's just like bad or can't catch. It's usually a concentration thing. And he had one of those in this game yesterday. And it was on a third down that actually killed a drive, which is something that it's been really like a bugaboo of his game. If he could clear up that one thing where he's just locked in on every single play, and no matter what, whether the ball's coming to him or not, he's always ready to catch the ball, he could be great. But if he cannot fix those concentration drops, he's going to be another one of those what if stories.
Well, and another thing about the what if is we can see if we get if there's a new offense in the next season, right? Bring in a new guy, offense coordinator, new head coach, whatever, and you see a new offense. It's one of those what ifs is, will his production drop more or will it rise? Will he
It's just going to depend on what type
exactly.
of offense. Now, if they go to like say a more Tennessee style offense where they're running it 40 to 50 times every single game, probably going to drop because there's a lot of mouths to feed. It's not. I mean, they have 3 top flight receivers: Jeudy, Sutton, and Patrick, and then you also have KJ Hamler, and then you also have not Jerry Jeudy. I will say it again. Noah Fant. And then you have emerging Albert Okwuegbunam.
Hey, we both agree Alberto's better, right?
He's definitely a better all-around guy.
Yeah.
Noah Fant might be a little bit better on the vertical pass. He seems to track the ball over his shoulder a little bit better than Albert O does. But yeah, overall, when it comes to blocking, receiving, all of that, Albert O's definitely the better all-around player than Noah at this point.
I mean,
Noah has the ability.
Yeah.
Noah has the ability to be a Gronk-like, a Hawkinson-like game changer, a Kittle or Kelsey-like game changer. If he, again, just like Jeudy, he has a case of concentration and effort at times. Yeah. It seems like he's kind of jogging through routes if he doesn't think the ball's coming to him. And his blocking is lackadaisical to say the least. So there's a lot to like about Fant, but there's also a lot to be like, there could be a lot more there, but it doesn't seem like he wants to bring it out of himself.
I think what I love about Albert O really is I love his athleticism. It's top tier, especially after yesterday, seeing that touchdown, very similar touchdown to the one in week 1 against New York, a pylon dive for a touchdown. I was so happy to see that.
Yeah.
Start using the tight ends more. Tight ends have not been used as much in recent weeks, right? Early on, we've been seeing it.
Yeah, and it's the Shermer offense. It's something that I had actually brought up on this show, maybe a month ago when we were talking about this, where you look at Evan Ingram. Before Pat Shermer, he was a world beater. He was one of the top tight ends in the league. Shermer comes in, and his production drops by 60%. Then Shermer leaves, and now Ingram's back to being a big play threat. And the same things happened since before Shermer and Noah Fant's rookie. Noah Fant broke the rookie record for the Broncos for most yards and most receptions by a tight end. A lot of people like to forget about that. He was a beast as a tight end.
The man was the most reliable receiver on that field that season.
Yes, especially after Court went down.
Yeah.
And so, there's definitely the potential there. But then you see Shermer comes in, and again,
no, that was the season Court was up. No, that was the season Court was there.
No, yes, that was the I do
because that was the year before. That was we saw Rich Scangarello.
Correct. Yeah, it was with Rich Scangarello. I apologize. Yes, Cortland Sutton was there, and that was the year that
was went both of their rookie season. Yeah, his second season.
It was Court's second season and Noah's rookie season. Yep, they were the back-to-back first-round picks, wide receiver, and tight end.
Those two beautiful catches that season. The one against the Browns and the one against the Chargers.
Yes, you're talking about Sutton, right?
Yeah,
if I remember. Yes. Yeah, that diving one-handed catch on his face and falling.
That got second. That got second in the top 100 catches, and the first catch was a toe tap in the end zone.
I know. That made me so angry. I'm like, really? This man did something that no other human on earth can do, and you put it as the second place?
Both of his catches. His catches were 2 and 3.
Yes. Yeah, 2 and 3. Yeah, those two catches you were just talking about. I'm like, y'all is on some other.
And then it was a Titans tight end toe tapping in the end zone in a playoff game.
Yeah, I think it was either Jonnu Smith or what was that other guy's name that they got from San Francisco?
Oh, I know you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he's the one that left because they drafted Kelsey, and he knew that he had no chance of winning that. And speaking of that, how cool is it that the guy that literally was the reason Demaryius Thomas was sent to Houston was the guy that knelt on the sideline and left Demaryius Thomas's X receiver position open on the field for the first play when the Broncos took that delay
that's awesome
in honor. Like, that is absolutely, so many people forget that the reason that Demaryius Thomas was traded was because of the emergence of Cortland Sutton. Mm-hmm. And it all stemmed
and then you saw Sanders.
Yeah, it all stemmed from, and that was the year that Sanders got into a fight with Sutton because Sutton said he was the alpha, and Sanders is like, no, I'm the veteran, I'm the alpha.
And then Cortland just socked him in the face.
Yes.
That fight video is amazing. And then the next week they beat the Chargers and they're hugging, love each other.
And they both had like 100 yards. I mean, it was just brothers being brothers,
It's those SMU boys.
Yep, exactly. They were both from the same college. He broke all of Emmanuel Sanders' records in college. So
hey, I mean that should make him the alpha. That should make him the alpha. Let's be honest.
It should. And the fact that he was put as the X receiver instead of Emmanuel Sanders, which isn't. For those of you that don't know, the X receiver in an offense is the alpha receiver. There's no debate about that. If you are the X receiver, you are literally the best receiver on that squad.
And Emmanuel was a slot, and he thought he was better.
Right. Well, he was a slot, and he also played the Y as well. When it was just 2 receiver sets, and they had
and that 2 we're missing right now, dude. I'm missing some KJ in the slot.
Oh, we sure are. But I mean, I think that we've seen that Jerry Jeudy is an absolutely epic slot receiver.
Yes.
Because if y'all have not paid attention since he's come back, the 2 big name wide receivers, Patrick and Sutton, stay outside.
Yep.
They are X and Y. Timmy P does not go inside anymore.
He's too big to go inside too.
Well, I mean, he's always been a really good big slot. He's always been like an Anquan Bolden type.
Like a Larry type slot as well.
Yeah, but a little bit bigger. That's why I like Anquan, because Anquan was 6'4". So that's why I kind of go. I think Larry's like 6'1", 6'2". It's not like he's small, but he's just a little smaller than what Timmy P is. Anquan was actually a little bit more built than Timmy's a little bit slimmer, but they're about the same size. But yeah, either one's pretty good. And also I go with Anquan because he's really good, not a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to put that on Timmy P. You know what I'm saying?
Anquan Bolden. I miss me some Anquan Bolden sometimes.
Me too. I love that. That man played with a broke jaw, y'all. Dude got his whole face cracked open and went back out the next week. There's nobody tougher than that. And we got some chats here, so I want to go ahead and give some shout outs. Nika, I appreciate you coming in as always. Love to see you. My baby has the question. Did the Broncos have an easy win or was it fought for? That was the easiest win the Broncos have had, probably since 2016. I can't remember. I mean, outside of maybe the Jaguars game where they shut them out
Jets
earlier
game.
this year.
Jets
Maybe
was
the
a shutout.
Jets game. Oh, yeah, the Jets. My bad. The Jets were the shutout. So, yeah, the Jets game, that's
what game are you
probably
talking about
par.
in 2016?
The one where Simeon went off. I think it was against the Texans where he had like 350 yards.
Oh, yeah, Brock Osweiler's return.
Yes, Brock
When
Osweiler.
Brock got sacked like 4 times by Vaughn and D. Ware.
Vaughn and D. Ware went off. They was angry. They're like, "How dare you leave?"
And then that's when Simeon proved he was better than Brock.
Yep.
I think he had like 3 touchdowns in that game, over 400 yards.
Yeah, it was like 350, 400 yards.
Yeah, that's a highlight game. That's a highlight reel we're gonna have to watch sometime.
We will have to at some point. But since we've gotten closer to talking about Demaryius Thomas, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. As we all seen, the Broncos did a absolutely wonderful job of honoring Demaryius Thomas before, during, and after the game. So I wanted to get each of our perspective on what we thought was our favorite part of those tributes. So I will let my guy Dylan go first.
Ooh, I got 2 for you. I think my first one was the interception by Jay Sims. That one was great. It picked it off right in front of it because he just got up and walked right to it. It was right next to him. That one was great. And I think of course, the Lions not accepting the penalty, declining the penalty for the. Why can I not remember the name of that penalty?
You're taking all the moments, man. Pick one.
Okay, it's the one right before the game, right? I just can't come up with the name of the penalty for the
delay a game.
Gosh. Yeah, delay a game. I just blanked.
Okay.
Yeah, the delay a game was great. Go out 10 men on the field, just like what the Washington did for Sean Taylor after he died, except they played with 10 men on the field.
Right. Yeah. My favorite moment wasn't really a tribute. It was just the universe giving us a moment. And that was the 88-yard drive to end the game. Y'all realize that. That was not intentional. The Broncos didn't intentionally go. They didn't even know until after the game when media members started asking them how they felt about it. And then it was just too fitting that the last play was to Albert O, who took it into the end zone, bouncing it off the pylon, and then immediately got up and went to the 88. And again, he did not know that they had just went 88 yards.
Yeah, they fielded it on 12 to start that drive.
Yep, they did. They fielded it on the 12. It was exactly 88 yards, and it ended with a passing touchdown.
See, you need at least one.
Just too perfect. Need one. You need at least one, and they got 2. So that was absolutely epic. And on this note, I was actually able to scrounge up an absolutely wonderful video that is a tribute to Demaryius. I want to be clear, I did not make this, but I loved it so much, I wanted to share it with y'all. So I'm about to play this. So here we go.
Has confirmed tonight that former Broncos star wide receiver Demaryius Thomas has died.
All right, let's get right to our sports director, Lionel Bienvenu, with what we've heard about this just shattering loss tonight, Lionel.
Guys, it is simply devastating news. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Demaryius Thomas was only 33 years old. He just retired last summer. He finished his career as the Broncos' second all-time leading receiver behind only Rod Smith. Demaryius was a first-round pick by the Broncos in 2010. And remember, he teamed up.
I'm Demaryius Thomas. I finally came to a decision to hang it up. I'm gonna retire, and I'm gonna retire Denver Bronco. I'm honored, I'm grateful, I'm appreciative. There's so many things I could say, and I'm just happy to say I'm done, and it did me well. Always as a kid, or always when I did something, it was always my best to go and go and go. And football was my goal. And every year I tried to get better and better.
And with the 22nd pick in the 2010 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Demaryius Thomas.
Draft night. It was one of the most, I would say, one of the most exciting nights because with my uncle, aunt, cousins, it's 22nd pick, and I was the first receiver taken. My first touchdown in the NFL, I would say Seahawks, left sideline. I think it was week 2, Kyle Orton. That was my first touchdown in the NFL.
Throws pass caught. Demaryius Thomas out over the 45 midfield. Here we go. 40, 35, foot race, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown. Denver is over.
It's like it was yesterday. Every time I see it, every time I watch it, I still get the chills because it was just crazy.
I'm very excited to begin the next chapter of my playing career for the Denver Broncos.
I was nervous at the time. I ain't even gonna tell no story. I was nervous. I'm like, man, I'm about to get a chance to play with Peyton. A lot of guys don't get that. I don't care what they say, with the injury or not. It just was learning the game and being around it. And that was some great times.
Shotgun snap, pass to Demaryius Thomas. Thomas at the 1 and steps into the end zone. Touchdown, Denver. Peyton Manning's 4th touchdown pass of the first half. He's got 55 on the season.
Nobody gonna stop that 10. 5 guys with 10. Me, Eric Decker, Wes Welker, Noshawn Marino, and Julius Thomas. So somebody gonna have to go throw a lot of touchdowns.
Touchdown, Demaryius Thomas. Move over Brett Favre and make room for the new king.
Winning the Super Bowl, for sure, that's the ultimate goal of playing ball, and for sure everybody that was on that team. I don't want to call names because I don't want to miss nobody, because it was a special time for all of us. And I still remember Super Bowl 50 right here. It's on me. I ain't gonna never forget it. You know, I remember my mama going to prison, and I told her, I was like, it's something I'm gonna go pro in, because me and her played together mostly the sports, basketball or football, whatever it was. And when they went away, I got good at football, and I just chasing and chasing, and it have did wonderful things for me and my family. I've been able to get my mom and grandma out of prison. I don't know if football did it, but winning the Super Bowl, meeting Obama, after that situation, they both kind of got out, which I'm thankful for. But football had done a lot. Even when I was a ball player, I tried to, be calm, be humble, because at the end of the day, I wanted to be seen as Demaryius Thomas, not the football player Demaryius Thomas. So, that's why I stay under the radar and not the way. And I will say this to all the fans. I wasn't a big rah-rah, I didn't talk much, and I love all y'all. I will always love y'all. I don't think it's nowhere better to play. I haven't witnessed it yet. The crowd, even when you up and down, winning or losing, they always behind you. I witnessed it. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great place to play. I just wanted to consider it one of the best that come through there. I try to do my best. I put it all on the line each and every week. Even at practices, I try to practice all the time. I played 122 games straight. And there's a lot of people can say that. And it wasn't just all about going and get the catch. It was times when we need a big block. It wasn't never really about me. I was trying to do it for the team. For the last, year or so, or whatever it's been, just been trying to find myself. Of course, leaving ball is a tough thing. It's a tough thing to get away from.
Pat Bowlen took a chance. He's the reason why I'm a Denver Bronco. If I wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here.
Coming out of the 2-minute warning. Over to Thomas. Stiff ball. That works. Touchdown, Denver.
Goal from the 1. Thomas. One-handed catch for the touchdown. Seconds left in the corner. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Demaryius Thomas. From the 17-yard line. Lost one deep downfield. Finally, Demaryius Thomas makes a catch. 11 times he's targeted. 86 yards to go for Peyton Manning, and that's a big chunk of it. Might be all of it. Down the sideline. Touchdown. Demaryius Thomas. For the tie. Manning looking back in the end zone, and it is caught to tie the game, Demaryius Thomas.
Rush sets in the pocket, looks for the end zone, floats one to the end zone. Thomas with a one-handed catch. Put on IR this week. 2nd and 2. And another completion. This one to Thomas. And he got away from the defender, and it's still going as he hurdles past another Charger and takes it to the end zone for a touchdown.
Do nets, and it's nothing like ball that you can do net. So I just been working on myself and trying to find myself, of course, getting love from my family and friends. But the main thing is just working on self and trying to find what I'm gonna do next, and building relationships where I can have people around that gonna really help me out, because it ain't easy. I ain't gonna say that. It ain't easy leaving football. So that.
Oh, there he is. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I do. Definitely pulled on the heartstrings for me. It's wonderful to hear his voice, even though we know we're never going to hear it again. And that's the hard part. But I wanted to share that with y'all because that really touched me. And I hope it touched you the way that it touched me.
He's going to talk about one of those catches.
Yes, I'm going to get to that. Just give me a second.
Got one.
I got you. But it's actually where I'm going next. But I think that was the perfect one because it didn't just focus on his on-field exploits.
Exactly.
It allowed him to speak of him in his own words. And I think that's better than any words that any of us can come up with. Like I said, the best thing I can say is he's going to be sorely missed. It's a tragedy. It's tragic. I can only imagine. Well, actually, I'd have to imagine. I know exactly how his family feels. With a sudden death, and I know it's heart-wrenching, and my heart goes out to his entire family. And I just pray that they find their strength and they're able to move on and find something positive out of this, which is what I'm trying to do. For those of you that are here that weren't on the cast yesterday, on the website, we have a DT for the TD t-shirt that 100% of the profits are going to the Denver Broncos Boys and Girls Club. That is Demaryius Thomas's favorite charity. He was the Santa every year for those kids. The skinniest and most buff Santa ever, but he was the Santa every year for those kids. He would take them around and do the shopping and things. And one of the greatest stories that I've ever heard of Demaryius Thomas was this gentleman. He's an Army vet. He had just got back from Afghanistan. He hadn't got a job yet, and so he was running short on money, and he found out that the groceries he had gotten were too much. He didn't have enough money to pay for them. And this wasn't an outreach thing. Demaryius Thomas just happened to be standing behind this man in line and paid for his meal. And the reason I love that so much is because I have a bit of a personal story that's similar. It was my little girl's 11th birthday, and I was sent to go get her cake. Well, I had screwed around and I had put too much gas in my truck.
Oof.
And I didn't have the money to buy her cake. But some good Samaritans that stood behind me bought not only her cake, they bought her presents.
Nah, that's just great, man. A lot of people do that. There's more good people than bad.
There really is.
Those bad apples are way out the good ones.
Right. And it's just, this man was these were just average Joes. And it still kills me that they wouldn't give me their names. They wouldn't tell me anything about them because they didn't want anything back. All I could do was hug them and walk out. But to think that a celebrity sat there and was that generous just to be good, that just encapsulates exactly what Demaryius Thomas is and was, not just as a player, but as a man. So I'm going to pull this up here and give y'all a look. Bear with me just a moment of what the shirt looks like. Oh, dang it. I hit the wrong thing. Why is it not letting me screen share now? There we go. Share screen. Chrome tab.
You're just a boomer. You know, you can't work
I
with
guess.
that.
I guess. There we go. Can y'all see this now?
Did you see that
There it is.
mural? The guy added on to his Peyton mural.
Yes, he added onto his Peyton mural and gave Demaryius Thomas a space. But this is the shirt. I did that edit personally. I was here last night until midnight getting this and some schoolwork done. So that is up. It comes in orange and blue, obviously, for the Broncos. If you want to cop one, I would love it. And like I said, again, this is 100% profit going to that charity. And I cut you off. I'm sorry, my guy. There we go.
You always do that.
Now we're better. Hey, then you see this beautiful massage. What can I say?
Gotta see the beard.
Got to see the beard. Gotta
I got the neck beard, so it doesn't count.
It's all right. We'll get you there one day.
No,
And,
there
we
is
got this praise from
my
Nika. Y'all did
family
great yesterday. Thank you. Thank you, Nika.
My family is just not great at growing beards. Except everybody except my brother somehow. I don't know what
Your
happened
brother got
there.
some? Yeah, what's funny?
My brother
is,
had a
like,
Jesus beard.
right. If you would look at my dad, you would think that mine would be even bushier, especially my mustache. Because like my dad looks like Santa because he's got the full gray beard now. So like when he lets it grow in, man, he looks just like Santa.
I'm gonna have to
So,
hold
like,
my
I'm
dad. I'm
kind
just gonna
of-
have to do the goatee because he can only
Right,
do a
yeah.
goatee.
I got you. Yeah, like see, like because I'm kind of angry. Like even though I'm actually kind of happy that I'm not as furry as my dad because he's got like a wool blanket across his entire body.
Hey, you always stay
So-
warm.
Hey, yes, that is the facts. I mean, the man wears shorts in the winter, so if that tells you anything, he's got his own wool coat.
That's me. I'm wearing shorts
There
right
you go.
now.
There you go. Yeah, I'll wear pants. I'm not that much of a Coloradan. I am a native. I'll go out in short sleeves when it's about 30 or 40 degrees, but I'm going to have on pants. I can't do the shorts thing. I don't know what it is about my legs. My legs just can't handle it.
My legs are always warm. I don't know what it is. What gets cold are my feet and my hands.
The beard struggle. Yes, the beard struggle. There it is right there. Oh, there it is. Beard struggle. Yes, they do. Yes. Nick and my pops definitely love their shorts. So
I think one of my favorite moments though from that video.
Yes.
I want to give a football one and a real life one, right?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the football one first, just to get it out of the way. I don't think a lot of people forget during that Super Bowl season, DT didn't have a lot of catches.
Talking about 2015?
Yeah, 2015. He did not have. He wasn't the player he was, and I think people forget that Patriots game that we saw, the snow game, the CJ Anderson game. That was his one and only catch on the sideline late in the game to set them up to tie it.
Out of 11 targets.
Yeah, he went 1 for 11 on the night.
1 for 11. Yeah, he had a horrible game, but that one play, that was the one that set them up for the tying touchdown. That was crucial.
Crazy.
That was late in the fourth quarter. And y'all seen how amazing of it wasn't like it was an easy catch and he was wide open. He was covered very well, went up and fought for the ball. And
in a snowstorm with wind. The ball's wet.
Yes. And I mean, I really love that video because it really, like, I got to remind y'all, this man was 6'4", 230 pounds. And y'all just seen how he was running past and through and destroying angles from cornerbacks and
who ran a 4.4.
He ran a 4.3.
Oh, that's right. He did.
He ran a 4.3 coming out of college. I mean, listen to this insane stat from his senior year in college. His senior year in college, they ran a triple option, which for those of you that are uninitiated means that they run 90% of the time. They have 3 running backs on the field at all times. That's a triple option. That's the offensive end. They threw for 1,800 yards. The whole team. 1,800 yards. You want to know, Demaryius Thomas had 1,200 of those 1,800 yards as the only viable wide receiver in that offense.
Man was a monster.
That's insane. And that's also why he was always so great at run blocking. That was like the big thing with him is like and another reason why I loved him so much is that unlike guys like Odell Beckham Jr. and people of that nature that are real divas, they Olay block. They might, act like they're going at somebody's knees and, kind of just like roll out of the way. They don't really block. Demaryius Thomas pancaked people. He was angry.
Every time I think of a receiver run blocking other than DT, I just think of that Eddie Mack in Super Bowl 32 where he just laid out the linebacker.
Yes.
But I think my favorite moment, what I love though, outside of football for DT was he was Uncle DT to like everybody's kid on that team.
Yes. Like think about Super Bowl 50. What was the first thing he did? He went to Peyton Manning's family and picked up his oldest son. And they were playing around. That was literally Uncle Demaryius or Uncle D.
And I think it was Paradis Paradis posted something on Paradis had on Twitter the whole ride home on the plane. He sat with his son and Paradis, played with him, carried him on the bus during the parade.
Yeah, and it's like if you go back and look at like foundations that he worked with, like the Boys and Girls Club, and they talk about Demaryius Thomas. It wasn't like, oh, he showed up for a photo op. No, he was literally getting on the ground and wrestling around with the kids and carrying them on his back and giving them shoulder rides and
never missed. I think I saw something. He never missed a Boys and Girls Club charity event.
Nope, that was his thing. Anything Boys and Girls Club and a place called A Precious Child.
Yep.
Those were his two, like every bit of philanthropy from him specifically was towards kids. Like that was his thing, was helping underprivileged kids. Because you just heard in that video.
His story.
He was 8, his story. He was 8 years old and his mother and grandmother were taken from his home. Like it was a tragic. It wasn't like the cops came and knocked on the door. No, it was a full-on SWAT raid. He was sleeping on the couch when the cops kicked the door in that was right next to the couch his 8-year-old self was sleeping on, because his mom and grandma had a weed selling operation. That's why they went to jail for almost 50 years. Well, they had like a 40 or 50-year sentence until Obama commuted the sentence year before 2014. I believe it was the year before the Super Bowl that they won. So it was just in time for mom and grandma to be there to see him get his ring. So
and I think it was, man, just imagine if they were selling weed nowadays. They'd be making bank.
Oh,
especially here,
and they can do it legally,
right? And they can do it legally.
They wouldn't have to worry about the SWAT team kicking down and almost killing their 8-year-old son or grandson. So but I mean, that's why he had.
We're in the wrong business, man. We should just open a dispo.
You know what? I've thought about it, but it's hard to get unless you have somebody that's willing to. You have to find the financing because banks won't give it to you because of the whole federal laws and blah blah blah. We won't go down that road. I've looked into it. If you haven't noticed,
I have.
But no, like I mean, he's just an absolutely wonderful human being. It's just horrible that we're not going to get to see him and what he would have grown into outside of football.
And you can tell how much it meant to all those guys, because Vaughn and Emmanuel Sanders missed 2 practices because of it.
Yep. Yeah. They had to take some time, which is completely understandable. Like, I mean, the man impacted every person that he ever came in contact with. I mean, and I'm not that guy. Like, this is weird for me. I'm not that guy that cries over athletes. I've never done that before. I still remember when John Elway retired and I watched my mom just sobbing because he retired. And I'm just like thinking, why would you do that? Well, now I understand. I've never had a player or person that I didn't meet impact me in the way that DT did. And it's because I followed him so closely. He's one of the few players that, or just celebrities in general, that I know about as much about their personal life as I do their professional life. I'm not that kind of guy that needs the drama to be interested. I want to worry about what do you do on the field. Like,
and there was another
murdering. Go ahead.
So there's another point in that video that showed you why the Broncos organization stands out to most. It was after they won the Super Bowl, that interview talking about Pat Bowlen. Pat Bowlen chose his guys.
Yes.
That shows you how much he wanted to win and how much he cared for those guys.
And he was going to do anything and everything in his power to make sure they stayed a
Yeah.
Bronco
And
as
I think
long
John
as they were
told
productive.
John Elway told a story about how we took out a personal loan to sign a player. And I think that player was was it no, it wasn't Wesley Woodyard. Who was it? But there's a player, he took a personal loan of $3 million out to get enough money to sign him.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Isn't that insane? I mean, that just tells you how he was able to set the winning standard that he did. Is because he didn't just talk the talk like a Dan Snyder or somebody like that. He
Jerry
walked
Jones.
the walk. Jerry Jones is another good example. Yes. But yeah, he literally did both. And he did not accept mediocrity.
I
And
would
he
say
did
Al
not make
Davis,
excuses.
but after that documentary, I have a completely new opinion on that man.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that's the wonders of documentaries, man.
Yeah.
They can completely change your perspective on someone, or either good or bad.
It shows you how much, and now it shows you I respect that man now.
Yeah. I've always had a respect factor for Al Davis.
Yeah. As a owner, not as a human, but now.
Yeah. Now it's a much more personal level. After that whole ESPN documentary, that was a really good one. Yeah, definitely ESPN does some great like their 30 for 30s and all that. Those are all really good. I really
the rest of it. Nah.
Yeah. The rest of it can be hit or miss, depending who's the host of that day. But yeah, the documentaries, those things, they definitely knock those out of the park. They're definitely on par with the way that NFL films has been for the last like 50 years or whatever.
See,
they've been
now
around.
I know I hate that he won't be around to see it. Now I just need a football life on DT.
Yes, I think that would be because I mean his story, even without this whole tragic event and everything, his story was good enough for a 30 for 30 or a football life documentary. So I think this might accelerate the timetable. I'm sure ESPN was like, "Oh, we got time. He's 33," but everything. And I mean, man, I don't want to get into that. I'm going to leave that alone. Never mind. Anyways, let's go ahead and switch back over here. Let's go ahead and talk about this win again. Broncos finally committed to the run, and they reaped the rewards as we discussed earlier. They ran it 40 times, had over 200, almost 200 yards of rushing by the end of the day. And it was just wonderful to see Pat Shurmur finally getting it. Do you think that Pat Shurmur is going to actually see these benefits and continue on this path, or are you afraid that he's going to revert back to the bad habits?
I think this is just what I think. I think that finally these fans are getting to him. They're kind of getting to him, and you saw it, especially against the Chiefs game, how they ran the ball great. They ran the ball more than they passed. I think it might have been close. It was close.
The Chiefs game was close, yeah.
Yeah, and then this game, more running than passes. You can tell it's he's starting to listen, and you can see that it's working, right? He sees that it's working. So I think he's going to keep sticking with this play calling instead of this conservative play calling where he's not sure about it. He's going to keep committing because he knows his job's on the line, right? I think he loses it either way.
I would hope so.
Yeah. He loses it either way, I think. But I think he's going to keep up that play calling because he called a great game besides those 3 drives.
He really did. I mean, he had a really solid game plan.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into the great. You can be in that area if you want to. I'll say good. I will give him some kudos.
I only say great play calling because I got to see more running.
Yes. I will say play selection. If you want to go play selection, yes.
He had a good game plan.
Great play selection. Yes. Great game plan. Great play selection. There was some definitely questionable play calls here and there, especially in that 3 series in the first half where they had their only 3 punts of the entire game.
And then you look at that second half, you're just sitting there like, I don't know if he's in the booth or not. I couldn't tell if did he I know I was like, but did he get fired? Is he gone? Is he who's up there? Because that looked like some old play. That looks like some John Fox play calling.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Okay. I got you. I definitely, it was strange to see, but it was a good strange, not a bad strange. it was wonderful to see that he was able to look at himself, evaluate, and correct. That's a key component to anybody being successful at anything in their life. But yeah, I'm afraid he might go back to his bad habits. And I don't want to say that the fans got to him, because if you're weak enough to let the fans get to you, we have.
Well, that's
other
not really
problems.
what I meant by fans.
But
I mean
I got you.
inside the front office.
Right. I just want to
players.
clarify. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. I just want to clarify. I'm not saying that that's what you were saying. I just want to clarify.
You know
what I
you
will say is
said.
that I think it was Vic Fangio.
Yes.
Because remember, after their win against, oh crap, who did they play before last week?
Did they play for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Chiefs was the Chargers.
Chargers. Yeah. He's like, in the victory speech, he's like, we ran the ball, with the most sarcasm I have ever heard from that man. So it's
we
kind
ran
of
the ball.
we ran the ball. And so that was an absolutely great moment that made me realize that, okay, maybe Fangio, he might not be doing it in public, which is actually a good thing. If you're a leader, you're leading, you don't punish in public. You praise in public, you punish in private. Okay. And so it looks like Fangio has been. He's at least been getting on Shermer, which is something I was worried about, because it didn't seem like there was any accountability in that building unless your name was Drew Lock. It seemed like he was the only one that was held accountable for anything. But it finally seems that whatever Vic was doing in private finally got through to him, and he went towards the run game. But I agree with you. I don't think he saved his job, and I hope he didn't save his job. And I don't think that there's anything at this point that he can save his job. So, I mean, I hope he gets better, and maybe he'll get he's been a long time coach, so I'm sure he'll get another chance somewhere. But I just hope it's not in Denver. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's find something new. Again, like we said earlier, there's going to be a new quarterback. It doesn't matter who it is. And the reason why I am even more adamant that there's going to be a new quarterback is because of the reports coming out yesterday about Teddy will demand $20 to $25 million per year on a long-term deal as a 29-year-old journeyman. I don't know who is representing this man, but they need to get him back to reality, because honestly, I don't see a single team that's going to give him that money. There's maybe some teams that will be interested at the right price. But
I messed it up. Nope, we're not doing that.
You're all right. But I do not believe that there is a single team in this league that is desperate enough to give an average journeyman quarterback that just is a simple game manager $20 to $25 million. That's the money you give to a franchise quarterback. Teddy is not a franchise quarterback. Again, I am not sitting here to dog the man. I'm just being honest. He is a serviceable starter. You want to pay him $10, $15 million to be a high-end backup? That's on you, buddy. I'm not paying that. At the most, I would give the man about $5 million a year to be my backup. That's the absolute most I would offer him. So
I think we talked about yesterday on the broadcast. I was saying the person. I think there's one person that could pay at least $15 million for Teddy, and that was Sean Payton and the Saints. Because there's still a lot of interest from what I've seen from Sean Payton is he loves himself some Teddy. He loves him some Teddy. And I feel like he would pay him at least 15 at the most to get him back, because who knows how Jameis is going to be. That man ruined his knee. Got his knee ruined.
It was nasty.
I feel so bad for that man. He's having a breakout season just for that.
Yeah, finally getting his turnovers under control. The Saints were winning. Like, he wasn't putting up, the 500-600 yard games that he was before, but he was more efficient and he wasn't turning the ball over. So he was having a great year. But who knows how he's going to look coming back. So I could definitely see the Saints giving him somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 million as an insurance policy. But even there, it's not a guaranteed start. And I don't know. And I think that Teddy's got it in his head that he is a starting quarterback in this league because he's on a team that doesn't seem to have, or that isn't willing to see, or doesn't have a better option. He's not a starter in the league because the Broncos view him as a franchise, which he actually has to understand because he said himself he does not expect the Broncos to be the team to give him that contract. I really want to know who he thinks is going to. I mean, honestly, looking across the league, I can name at least 5 quarterback needy teams, but none of them can be desperate enough to sacrifice their salary cap for an average quarterback. It's okay to pay for great. It is not okay to pay for average. That's the difference.
I know one team that would pay that kind of money because they just like to, but the Jets won't take him. They got their answer. They got Zach Wilson. I'm joking.
Right.
But yes.
And Mike White. So they actually have two potential options.
And it's like that's the only team I could see that would pay that much money for somebody, for anybody really.
The only one dumb enough, honestly, the only one with a dumb enough franchise.
Even though I love the Jets' new GM.
Yeah, maybe Houston. They're pretty stupid. You know, that front office is pretty dumb.
Oh no, the way Tyrod's been playing, they might keep him for a little bit.
He just got benched for Davis Mills.
Oh wait, that's right. That did happen yesterday.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
He's been so bad the last 2 weeks. They just gave.
I feel so mad. I feel so bad for Tyrod, dude.
I do. He's just never gotten a true shake.
The Bills was his best chance.
Yeah, outside that 1 year with Buffalo, and then they went off and got Josh Allen.
And Tyrod played horrible against against Jacksonville in that playoff game.
Yeah, he sure did. And then LA could have been another chance, but then again, they had Justin Herbert, and he had his
punctured
lung collapsed by his training staff. It wasn't like he was in a car crash or some crazy. No, he was getting a cortisone shot for torn cartilage in his ribs, and they used a needle that was too long, and they punctured and deflated his lung on the sidelines. They weren't even in the locker room. Why are you giving a guy a shot on the sidelines?
I think the worst was, one of my favorite takes from that was Pat McAfee going, where are they hiring these doctors from?
Yes, I remember that.
Are they bringing these guys out of country?
Right. That was a pretty good one. That was pretty good.
And then it was like all the NFL memes was just on fire that week. I remember that week very well because I felt bad for Tyrod, and the memes were on point.
On point. Always. Exactly. Appreciate y'all hitting that like button. See, we have as many likes as people in the chat, so that's always a good thing. But
we need more.
I think we can both agree that there is not a team in the league that is going to give this man that type of a contract. So we're going to go ahead and move on from that and move on over to another wonderful moment of this game. And that was that defense showing up, even though there are some causes for concern. So I will start with that, since that is my job, is to bring up the reality of things, is the fact that this defense allowed a practice squad running back that was lifted from the practice squad 24 hours before the game to rush for 83 yards on just 11 carries for 7.5 yard average. He had a 9-yard average until the fourth quarter. People, that's you can't. They have Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, and company coming to town next week. That is not okay. Joe Mixon is not going to be Craig Reynolds, where it's caught from behind. Joe Mixon gets these holes, he's taking it to the house every single time. And then they also let Amon St. Brown, top 5 name in the NFL with his brother Equanimous, to go for 8 catches, 73 yards, and a 9.1 yard average. Yeah, and they also have a younger brother named Osiris that we found out on the cast yesterday by Stone Sports. Came on the cast and gave us that bit of tidbit. So
yeah, dude, I don't think he won his money. The man had them taking the spread.
No, yeah, he said the Lions would cover. So even though he had good information on the Lions, his pick was bad. And I said it. So if any of y'all listened to him over me and lost money, that's your fault. I told you
that was so funny. I got the Lions to cover, and we're like, good luck.
Yes, good luck with that, buddy. This is gonna get ugly. And I think at that point,
do you know how much money he would have won though?
Oh yeah, well the spread would have been like negative 110.
Yeah.
So it would have been huge. Now if he would have taken the money line and won that, and the Lions won, that would have been a big payout. But I'm not going to go too far into betting lines because
this is not financial advice.
This is not betting advice, not financial advice, and this is not a betting show. So even though I know what I'm talking about, I'm not getting paid for it. It's not part of this show, so we're not going to talk about it anymore in depth. We'll move on. But the fact is that this defense is absolutely dominant outside of that one drive where they gave up a touchdown, and then again in the running game. But I don't want to sound too negative because most of what happened in the running game is fixable. Most of the yards that they gave up was when they were running away from the side that had Draymond Jones, Mike Purcell, and Bradley Chubb. So the play calling for Detroit, and I talked about this on the cast yesterday, was actually spot on.
It was great play calling.
The play calling was great. The execution was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
There was
They have a
of
great
plays.
staff. They have a great coaching staff.
They do. I think Dan Campbell put together a very good coaching staff. They just don't have enough talent to take advantage of it because, I mean, the play design and the play calls were great. Like that one swing pass where they had Khalif Raymond come into the backfield, pretend like he's taking an end around, then turn around and come back the opposite direction, catch the pass and take it for a first down. That was beautiful. I mean, a beautiful play call, beautiful execution.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lions have potential. So I don't want to be here and be like, oh, the Broncos gave up this stuff to a really crappy team, because everybody's got to realize just because this team is a one-win team doesn't mean that they're not still an NFL team. These are still NFL players. They are still good players. So they are going to get theirs eventually. That's why the Lions ended up with 10. I know I predicted a possible shutout, but again, outside of 2 drives, they would have shut out this team.
Yeah,
so,
but I can, that first drive where they went and scored, or that first like bad drive was I think you could tell that Denver they just got caught off guard. They had those 2 great stops, 2 touchdowns. They were feeling themselves. And then, it just seems like they got caught off guard a bit. Yeah, like they just forgot who they were playing, that they were actually playing in the NFL.
Right. Yeah. They definitely took their foot off the gas on that. And then that was the wake up call that the defense is like, okay.
And then from then on,
just slide along. Yeah. From that point on, they gave up 3 points. So a hell of a game by the defense overall. We talked a lot about this kid yesterday, and he was just an absolute force. And that was Draymond Jones, who had the only 2 sacks that either team had. Oh no, I'm sorry.
2 sacks. He had that
the Lions had
pass.
1 sack. Sorry, I just want to correct myself. The Lions had 1 sack. Go ahead.
He got 2 sacks, a reflected pass off his helmet.
Off the forehead.
Off the forehead, yeah. Right off the forehead. Thank God for face masks.
Yes. Oh man, that was insane. That was impressive.
That was,
bro. Did you see how high he got on that?
Yeah.
Like, boy has a vert. I think he could dunk at 300 and some odd pounds.
I think people forget. We haven't heard his name in the past few weeks because he hasn't been there. But even when his name's not being said, he's a presence, man.
Yes.
He's got that Bradley Chubb, Von Miller type presence where no matter if he's not being named, you can tell his name's not being said. Either he's getting double teamed, triple teamed, or somebody else is coming around the edge while they're trying to focus on him.
Yep. As much as we consternate about Ohio State quarterbacks being bad, so like Ohio State seems to just pump out bad quarterbacks. Like
they look great in college,
right? But just like USC, they're pumping out ridiculous pass rushers. I mean, you look at all the pass rushers that have come from that school over the last 10 years. It's insane. The number is absolutely insane.
Ohio State knows how to produce defensive players around the field.
Yes, pass rushers and cornerbacks especially.
And what I'll give Alabama is receivers and running backs.
Receivers, running backs, and safeties.
And
linebackers. Yep. And some defensive linemen. I mean,
every position. Alabama just gives you every position. Besides a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, really, yeah, because there's a lot of
great.
Yeah. Mac Jones, Tua's looking better, definitely. But yeah, those are probably the only 2 quarterbacks over the last, since Nick Saban's been there, that I could really say have a potential to do some great things in the NFL. And it's more about the situation they landed in than their actual talent. But I digress. We'll move back here. So not just Draymond Jones wasn't the only guy that was everywhere. We had mentioned earlier briefly about Justin Simmons and his ridiculous interception. That was really Jared Goff's fault. Hawkinson actually was kind of open, but Goff threw it behind him. and
a little under.
Simmons, yeah, and a little under, and Simmons just let his athleticism take over. So and then obviously the absolute wonderful moment of him going over and putting it on DT's number.
Dude, that fumble to start off the
sideline.
second half too.
Yes, that fumble. Who was it that caused that fumble?
It was Cooper.
It was one of our.
It was either Cooper or Browning.
Yeah, and then one of the other one recovered it. But yeah, that was epic. And I mean, just listen to all these names. Yet again, we're talking about all the Peyton's guys, except for Simmons and
Draymond Jones.
Yeah, those are Elway's guys. But yeah, still, it's just a forever, never-ending, just infomercial for George Payton and his skills as a GM. Every week, it just re-emphasizes the fact of and how good he is and how well he set this team up because of the moves he's made. They have the second most projected cap space at $60 million. They have either the second or third most picks in the top 100 in the draft. So he can literally do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
In this
he can like we said, he can grab a quarterback, which we wouldn't recommend, right?
Yes. No, not free agency, trade or draft. One of the two.
Yep. And he can go himself and grab himself a quarterback in the draft. Doesn't have to be a first round quarterback. You could find a guy in the late round that you could see has potential, at least get another man up in the depth or whatever happens if Drew's starting next season, whatever, if they find a guy in free agents or trades, not free agency, in trades. And you can even go out. You can just find every position you need. You can find another linebacker, add some depth, get yourself a couple more safeties because we're most likely Kareem Jackson's going to be gone after the season.
I got you. We got a Twitch person watching us. I appreciate you. Whoever's on Twitch. Unfortunately, it doesn't show me Twitch users in this interface. So whoever's on Twitch, thank you. If you sent any messages, I'm sorry. I will get to them as soon as we're done with this live. I'll go look at my Twitch and make sure I get back to you. I just realized that. So I just want to make it clear. If you are messaging or anything in Twitch, unfortunately, it doesn't come to StreamYard for some reason. I got to get that figured out, but I'm not ignoring you. I just saw you were there. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in. But go ahead and finish your thoughts. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. That's what I was going to say. He can just do whatever he wants this offseason. And that's why I'm excited for the offseason because last offseason was so goddamn fun. Yes. I think that was the most fun I had in an offseason.
Since 2014.
Yeah.
I think that was the only other time when they got D-Ware, TJ Ward, etc. Yeah.
Hakeem.
I have not. Hakeem, all of them came that year. So, was that 2014? Well, either way, whatever 2013 or 2014.
Hakeem's first season Hakeem D-Ware was that off season after they lost to the Colts. No, after they lost the Super Bowl. Seahawks? That was after they lost the Super Bowl.
Okay, so then it was the 2014 off season.
Yeah, 2014 off season.
Right. Yeah, because they went to the Super Bowl in 2013 and 2015. So there you go.
And then they lost to the Colts that season. Was such a stacked team.
Man, Andrew Luck won that game.
I miss Andrew Luck, dude.
I did too. And I hate the fact that it was the Broncos that broke his kidney.
Right.
That was the game. The game that he beat them in the playoffs was the game that they broke his kidney.
And then he's just going to beat Brady that next week.
Yep. I mean, you got a busted open kidney. You're not going to beat anybody either.
Right.
Bleeding when
if we didn't hurt Andrew Luck, maybe if they never hurt Andrew Luck, he wouldn't have left the league. Just saying. Might be our fault.
It might be. But I was actually I thought that was funny at that moment because it seemed like the Indianapolis Colts might pull another bonehead move like they did with Peyton and just drop Andrew because they had a top pick that year after he was injured and stuff. So I was like, wouldn't it be funny if Andrew Luck came to Denver?
Just comes to Denver, right?
We won a third Super Bowl with a Colts first round pick.
I remember seeing that, right? I remember going to see when I was seeing that. I was like, I would love to have Andrew Luck in Denver during that time because there's a lot of speculations that they would trade him.
Yeah.
And Broncos were a top team, and I was like, yo. So I love me some Andrew Luck, dude. Even playing against him, I loved watching that man. I'm just so sad he never got his ring.
He always killed me because he was like that guy that had the positive trash talk. Like
Yeah,
whenever he
right.
got hit, whenever
Good
he
hit,
got hit,
big
he'd
guy.
he'd patch on the helmet and be like, "Good hit, big guy." Or the way he tackled on interceptions, bro.
Yeah.
I've never seen a quarterback
Just
spear somebody
ragdoll.
before.
Yeah.
Dude, he speared a guy once. I've
Dude.
never seen a quarterback do that. It was insane.
My favorite Andrew Luck tackle was, I don't remember who it was against, but he threw a pick. No, it was a fumble. His running back fumbled the ball, and he goes for the tackle, and he just like ragdoll, just throws his body, just goes limp into the defender and
His
knocks
legs,
him
yep.
down. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that one. Yeah, that was funny. That was
Just
that
Jason
was just a
Street, Friday
funny
Night
visual.
Lights.
Right. Yeah,
Except he didn't get paralyzed.
Right. Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully.
And thankfully that was just a TV show. For those of
Right.
you that don't know what
I need to
Friday
rewatch
Night
that
Lights
show.
is.
That's a good show.
Yep. My nephews loved that show. I thought it was all right. The movie was interesting.
Oh,
say the least.
okay. I will say the movie is my favorite out of both of them.
Yeah.
Show's great
Yeah.
because I love me. Why did I forget his name? The guy that plays Coach Taylor. I love that actor.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head either.
I'm looking it up. This needs to be known.
This needs to be known. Yeah. Yeah, but that was actually Tim McGraw's first movie.
Yeah. It was
He played
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler, there you go.
And
Doesn't
Jesse
it seem
Plemons was in that show. I forgot about that.
Right. Doesn't it seem like Tim McGraw's been typecast as the country bumpkin father?
Yeah,
And he's
the
either-
abusive
he's either-
drunk.
Yeah, he's either the abusive drunk country father or he's the nice and kind country father.
I love me
It's
some Tim McGraw, dude. I didn't realize
Like,
the
he's
first time
alright.
I watched that movie, I didn't realize that was Tim McGraw.
He doesn't look the same. He gained a
Doesn't
lot
look
of weight for that
yeah.
role.
And
He
then
gained a lot
I
of weight.
remember I was watching it. It was like the first time I watched it, I didn't know that was him. And then I was watching it. My parents were watching it one night, and my mom was talking about it. Tim McGraw. I go, that's not Tim McGraw.
Right?
Looks
Like,
nothing
he's
like
fat.
him. Yeah, it's like that looks nothing like him.
Yes. It
Just
was
beats
it
his
was-
son, throws his ring
Yeah, it
out the
was-
window, gets drunk.
Right. Yeah, just crazy junk. Like it was amazing to see him play a jerk off because he's always
But Billy
always
Bob
been like
Thornton.
that. Oh, Billy Bob.
Give me
That
some
man's
Billy
on another
Bob.
level. Love
That
me some
speech,
Billy
that
Bob.
speech in the movie's improvised, is what he said.
Right? Isn't that's funny? Yeah, it came straight off the dome, and he gave a great one of the greatest in
I still
TV
love-
history.
I'll say it like I love. Okay, right? Billy Bob Thornton is Buttermaker in in the new Bad News Bears, the most recent one. He's still great. I'll give him that.
Right. I will agree. But we were kind of getting off on a tangent here. We
Oh,
were
yeah.
talking about movies, even though it is football. But hey,
It's
we're still talking
sports.
about movies. It's
And then
sports.
a
We're
little
close
baseball
enough,
one.
right? Hey, we're close enough, right?
Yeah.
But real quick, so we went over everything here in this game. Explained to y'all why it was awesome. We're going to go ahead and, as always, with wins, because we don't do this during losses, because who gives out participation trophies when you lose? Not us. So we're going to go ahead and give out some helmet stickers. We're going to give out 2 apiece. I'm going to go first this time around. My first helmet sticker is going to go to the defensive player of the game in my mind, and that was Justin Simmons. I know we talked a lot about Draymond Jones and his great game, but I think Justin Simmons deserves it simply because of, he's just everywhere. He was batting passes.
Yeah.
He was in the backfield. He was getting tackles for loss. He intercepted a pass. He was just literally everywhere on that field.
Man was
And
nuts.
Again, he is 27 years old and already in the top 10 of all-time Broncos interceptors.
That's
So,
crazy.
That is insane stat, guys. So that's my first helmet sticker. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Dylan for him to give his.
All right. I would go, I'm gonna go offensive, but if I had to go defensive, it's Draymond Jones. Because the man played out of his mind. But I'm gonna go with Melvin Gordon today. Man just played out of his mind this week. And he deserves it.
Not mad.
The man had a fantastic game. I'm not gonna rag on him. I don't care that he had more carries this week. Look what he did with them.
Nope. Exactly. No,
Yep.
I 100% agree with that one.
MG3. There you go.
MG3 for the TD, baby. Twice over. And so since you took the one running back, my second one's going to go offensive, and I'm going to take the other running back that this duo might just be the best in the league when you combine their talents. And Javonte Williams went off for 15 carries, 73 yards. He actually had a little bit higher average at 4.9 yards to Melvin Gordon's 4.6. even though Melvin Gordon actually had a longer run at 16 than his long of 9. So, and he also had the one catch for 10 yards and a touchdown. So there's where my second helmet
They
sticker
played
will
great.
be. They both played, and they both definitely deserve a helmet sticker.
Definitely. And then like Draymond Jones for me.
Draymond Jones for the second
Draymond
one.
Jones.
I think we've beat that horse enough. We all know
Yep.
why he deserves
We
the
all
helmet
know
sticker.
why.
Yes, sir.
I
All
don't
right.
say
So
anything else.
now that we are done with the Detroit just molly whopping butt whooping out to the woodshed, smack you up with a switch that your mama made you go out and get off the tree win that the Broncos just had. And
That
moving
Adrian
on-
Peterson almost got canceled for.
Right?
I love that, dude. That was so funny. You're like, it's a thing. Like, come on.
It's just a thing, especially in the South, man. I got
And he's
whooped by
from
a
the
switch.
South.
Right? I got beat by a cheese board by my grandma. Does that make her a bad person? No, because I guarantee you, I only got whooped once.
Got smacked
That's
by a
all
rake a
it
couple
ever
times.
took. Right? I've been beat with all kinds of things. You know what? I'm good. It only took one time.
I only called Child
One
Protective
time.
Services once. No, I'm joking.
Never. No,
That's a
right?
joke.
Never.
I only called
No,
them one
I-
time.
I
Never did it
threatened
again.
to
They
call-
beat me afterwards. So
Right? I threatened to call 911 once, and then my mama slapped me so hard I couldn't remember the number anymore. So let's
hey,
go ahead and get on to the
normalize hitting your
Bengals game.
kids.
No, let's not put it that way.
It's a joke.
Normalize
Yeah.
punishing your kids.
Punishing
yes.
your kids. Yes.
Well, I'm just thinking about the sound bite that somebody might grab.
Yeah.
Let me
Hitting
let me
your
make
kids.
sure that right
Yeah,
after
that's
that
funny,
we have right. Yeah. This, all of a sudden you just see on Twitter, you're up there. Hey, normalize beating your kids. But let's go ahead and move on to the Cincinnati Bengals.
I
here.
can let that down.
They are coming into town for the Broncos for a second consecutive home game. Right now, Vegas has the Broncos as the favorite.
Really?
Yes, actually. They are the favorite on the money line at -120. They
Oh,
are
the Bengals
favorite
did
on the
lose this
point
week.
Spread. They did lose, but
They're
this
same
is still
record
a
now.
stack. Now, they are saying that it's going to be close. Their prediction is the Broncos 22 and Cincinnati 21.
I could see that.
So-
I could see that.
So, yeah, and this is why we said this game was winnable. Even Vegas thinks that this game is winnable not because Joe Burrow or any of those guys are bad, but because they have a bad offensive line and that defense is still suspect. So, to give you an example and let you know why they are suspect, the Bengals are 17th in the league in points allowed per game at 22.5. Which is funny enough that
Hence
that's
why the
exact-
22.
Exactly why Vegas has them at the Denver Broncos getting 22, as opposed to the Broncos being second in the league in points allowed per game at 17.5 points per game. The Bengals are also 17th in total yards against per game, with actually being worse against the run than they are the pass. I'm sorry, against the pass than the run. The Bengals are 29th in the league against the pass, but they are 4th in the league against the run. So this is where I get a little worried because their strength is the Broncos' strength. Their rush defense is their strength. The Broncos' run game is their strength. So this is 1 week where I will say that Teddy Bridgewater has to do more than he did last week.
I think they're going to let him air it out.
I hope so, because that back end of the Cincinnati Bengals defense is bad, especially their corners.
Especially with Court and Timmy P out there.
Yeah, especially since they lost Greg Newsome, their rookie cornerback.
That's so sad because he was playing fantastic.
He really was. And that's a really big bonus to the Broncos because he was the one person in that secondary you had to worry about.
And, he would have been on one of the two. He would have been on one of the two, and it would have changed that game.
Yeah, and he's the type of cornerback that can shut down a Sutton or a Patrick. Because
watch him at that Northwestern.
He's a lot like Surtain. Yeah, he's a lot like Surtain. He's that big physical corner that can still run. Like, they're not slow by any means. They still run a 4.4. So
it's going to be. I think this game we're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot of airing out on both sides of the ball. Right.
I hope. I want to see Teddy air it out a little bit more, but I don't want to see Teddy throw more 3 ins and outs.
Yeah.
Like those are driving me nuts.
I need some more of those passes like that 14, like I think that was it was on that first drive.
Yeah, Noah Fant, play action pass, corner route.
That goes for maybe 20 yards at least. You don't need those long 40, 50-yard bombs.
No.
You just need to make progress down the field. That like 20-yard play action pass right there.
Right. Yeah, like people get it twisted when it comes to arm strength and like, oh, you need a guy that can throw it 60 yards and whatever. No, you really don't, because very rarely, very, very rarely are you going to throw the ball past 20, 30 yards downfield.
Every quarterback will.
Yeah. And
it's not
any
just
quarterback
Teddy.
in the NFL. Yeah, any quarterback in the NFL can make those throws. It's just a matter of who can you make them against and how much open does your receiver have to be?
And we've seen that difference.
Yes.
We've seen Teddy aired it out against the Jags, the court, right?
Yeah.
That was a great pass, right?
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that against the Chiefs or the Bengals.
No, but this is the perfect time. This is the perfect team to do that against. You're not going to do it against a Baltimore or, like you said, the Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills who have a good secondary. You're going to focus on the run the way that New England, they did against the Jags, or like what New England did to Buffalo, where they ran it all but 3 plays.
Who would have thought a quarterback had a winning stats that went 2 for 3 and 19 yards?
Right. And one of those passes was horrible.
Yeah.
And only one pass came in the first half, and he almost overthrew his receiver. His receiver had to make a good catch. Or
did you see the NFL memes made a sick edit of every Mac Jones pass attempt?
Yeah, that one. And did you see the meme that they made where it was like, I posted it on Twitter, but it was talking about when you do nothing on the group project.
Group project can get an A. Yeah.
Yes. That was my favorite there.
I can't believe that man wore a wetsuit under his uniform to stay warm. Right. I can't imagine how uncomfortable that was.
Exactly. So as long as the Broncos are able to run efficiently, they're not going to do to this Bengals defense what they just did to Detroit.
No,
they're not gonna run roughshod over
the
that.
Bengals have a pretty good defense for their injuries.
Defensive line.
Yeah, their D line, their front seven. Oh my god, dude. Yeah. It reminds me of that 49ers front seven from their Super Bowl when they lost Super Bowl to the Chiefs.
Yeah, very similar.
And Nick Bosa's rookie year. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been his rookie season. But yeah, very close. That front seven's really good. But if they can just be efficient and then run and then play the play action off of that, this Cincinnati defense is very aggressive.
Yeah,
and they are one of the worst in the league against the play action pass. So,
and that's where the Broncos' strong point in passing was this past week.
And is period. With any 3 quarterbacks on this, all 3 quarterbacks on this roster are play action specialists.
And even back when Peyton was there, right? Even in between Peyton all the way to Teddy, every quarterback in between was great on play action. It's their strong point. Like Trevor Siemian was great on play action, right? Let him roll out on play action and air the ball out. That's what I want to see Teddy do.
And that's what separates the game managers from the great and franchise quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. It's the one can make plays when things break down. That can make plays when the defense knows they're going to throw the ball and you complete the pass anyway. That's why I laugh at Teddy Bridgewater wanting to demand $25 million is because he is a simple game manager.
I want to see him be successful. I always want to see him be successful. That's why I'm excited for this week. Let him prove it.
Yes,
let him prove.
I would love to see him take another step.
Let him prove that not that he deserves the money. That's not what I'm saying. Let him prove that he deserves to be a starter in this league.
Right. And I mean, again, I'm just an honest guy. I don't believe he is a starter in this league.
Not after his knee injury.
Exactly. And that's the distinction I want people to understand. That with Teddy, you have to have 2 different sets of analysis. You have to have the analysis before the injury and after the injury, because his was that type of injury. It was a career change.
Took him 2 years to come back.
Yes, just to be. I mean, he couldn't walk. He had to learn how to walk again. Okay, so he had
in
to.
a training camp. Oh,
I know at the very end of it and all, like it was just a horrible, horrible thing that happened. He's another
just to have
what
Sam
if
Bradford
story.
come in, ruin it,
Right, Mr.
and then Case
Glass.
Keenum carry them to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, Mr. Glass
Yeah.
comes in. Yeah, I
Glass
know.
bones.
That was, yeah, Sam Bradford was the most injury-prone quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
What I found,
You
I just want
breathed
to
on
say
the
this
man
real
he was
quick. What I
breaking.
found funny about that season was for the Vikings, or was that just that season in general. Remember when Case Keenum and Nick Foles were coming into the league? Everybody expected those to be the top quarterbacks. They'd be playing in Super Bowls against each other or NFC championships, and never happened. And then both of them come in as backups and playing an NFC championship game.
Right.
All I'm going to say, I was cheering for the Vikings. And I'm still sad.
I hear you too, bro. I was hoping to see that go through.
Because we're kind of Vikings fans. Kind of. My dad's the Vikings fan as well. Got family in Minnesota.
I mean, hey, everybody has split alliances and stuff like that. It's not 1930, you know, you don't have to pick a side and choose.
My poor Aunt Rochelle. I saw her that first week. She loves Teddy. She loves Teddy back then. And I was sitting there talking to somebody about like his play, and she's like, "Hey, better not talk about him like that."
Right. Yep. It looks like Nika agrees with this. She can see the Broncos winning against the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos are at home, and they are on fire from a win against the Lions. 100%.
These last 4 games are very winnable games. Or three of the four. Sorry, 3 of the 4. We'll see about the Chiefs after these first 3.
Right. Yes,
Bengals,
most definitely.
Very winnable.
Yeah. Yes, Chargers winnable. Raiders winnable. The only one that I can consternate about right now that I can honestly just see it as a loss is the Kansas City Chiefs.
And let's see
of how they played against the Broncos. Not because of, Patrick Mahomes, but because of how that defense played and how smart of a coach Andy Reid was to just not give the Broncos any momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the only coach I've seen that's willing to, sacrifice the points to make sure he gets the win.
And this is what I'm saying right now. I say I agree with you completely, right? That's why let's see what happens these next 3 weeks. Let's see what happens against Cincinnati. Let's see what happens against LA and Vegas. Then change my mind. I want them to change my mind. Because the later the season's got, I think the more excited I've got.
Same here. I really...
Even though I didn't want to, that kid in me is coming back that I get to see them. We're back in playoff contention, baby.
And then it's something I said on the cast yesterday. I am doing some things a little bit differently for the rest of the season in honor of Demaryius Thomas. I'm going to go against my better judgment, and I'm going to throw logic out of the window, and I am just going to be the ultimate Broncos supporter and fan. He is an eternal optimist, is in the ilk of Demaryius Thomas as best as I can be. I'm not going to promise y'all that everything that comes out of my mouth is positive, but I'm going to give it my best, again, just in honor of DT for the rest of this season when we're talking about the Broncos. So I will go ahead and give my prediction on that note. Again, I do believe this game is 100% winnable. I do believe that the Broncos are going to, I think they're going to end the season. I don't think this is just a one game where they came out with a different type of passion, a different type of focus that they have seemed to lack at times this year. And I really think that this is going to help that locker room really coalesce and come together in a way we haven't seen yet so far this year. So I do believe the Broncos come out and they win, and they don't just win by 1 point. I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be as ugly as the Lions game, but if that front seven for the Bengals doesn't go up, it will be as bad as the Lions game. But I'm going to go with a prediction of 24-17 Broncos win at home over the Bengals.
I can see that. And I'm going to take, of course I'm taking the Broncos all the way, baby. Let's go. Okay. And, I think right now, these are 2 very similar teams, right? You got the same record. They have the same record right now, both 7-6. And they're both very similar in the same way. They have great running games. They have a great, or they're not great against the run, though, sadly. But I think this game's closer than we think it's going to be. I think this one's going to go 27-24 Broncos.
I can't argue with the score either way. I think we're both right there about where it's going to be at the end of the day. So I think we got some good predictions, good scores. Let me double check the chat, make sure we don't have anything else. Dan, you're awesome. I appreciate it. I try to be. Dan being
He's
the
all
ultimate
right.
Bronco fan. Yeah, I'm just all right, you know. I can do it. I try. I'm gonna do my damnedest. And Nika says that I can see them ending the season strong. I agree. I really, really like the passion and fire that this team played with yesterday, and I just hope that they're able to bottle it up and just spread it out over the last few weeks of the
And
season.
especially after, and the reason why these games are so winnable is how the downfall of the AFC has been the past few weeks.
Yes, the playoff field is wide open, and
anybody can make it in at this point. That's in the hunt.
Yes, the Broncos are a tiebreaker away from a playoff spot right now. They are behind, I believe, Baltimore fell in front of them. The Colts jumped in front of them. Let me pull it up here real quick, and I'll give you all the exact.
And especially with the downfall of the Raiders this season.
Yeah, actually, the reason that the Broncos are not right behind Buffalo, because right now the wild cards are the LA Chargers at 8-5, the Indianapolis Colts at 7-6, and the Buffalo Bills at 7-6. And then you have a bunch of teams after that are 7-6 that include the Broncos. The Broncos would be right behind Buffalo, but the Cleveland game, as we all know, did not go well. Case Keenum had his revenge. And so right now, Cleveland has the tiebreaker.
And look where he got him. He's still a backup.
Yeah. But so if the Broncos would have won that game in Cleveland, the Broncos would be in the second wild card right now. That's the difference right now, is that Browns Thursday night game that they allowed Case Keenum to beat them with, I think he threw for like 130 yards that game.
I'm watching the tournament right now. A sick play just happened.
You're all right to get excited. But I do believe Broncos need to find a reason and win for DT. Yes, I agree. I think that's a good way. That's a good one to leave up on here for the end. Again, y'all are absolutely amazing. Thank you all again for yesterday. Y'all were the absolute shiznit yesterday, getting us to 10,000 likes, y'all. I cannot express. Yes, round of applause for all of you guys. Y'all are absolutely epic. We love y'all beyond belief. Thank you so much for always being here, always supporting. Again, remember, DT for the TD shirts are available on the shop. 100% of those proceeds go to the Denver Broncos Boys and Girls Club. And I have also put on Twitter the link directly to the Denver Broncos Boys and Girls Club, just in case you want to donate to them directly. They actually have an $88 donation that is specifically created in honor of Demaryius Thomas, if you wanted to go that route. But if you want something cool for your donation as well, there's the t-shirt. Either way, I'm happy. I know DT would be happy. And so again, for the Bird Gang Sports Media Network, the answer is 42 Media Network. I am your host, Dan Wetstein of the Breakin Broncos podcast. That's my co-host, Dylan Miles. And don't question the blue.
No, sir.